Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by PlayPicks and thelines.com. I'm your host, Nate Weitzer, flying solo today. As we mentioned in our last player props video, Josh Lander is taking a little bit of a break here, getting married this weekend, and he'll be on his honeymoon next week. But after that, we will be back with a full slate of episodes for you. Of course, every game video through the conference finals and finals, along with these player props videos. As long as we have two games on the slate, we are going to continue to bring you this, and we will have plenty of written content up at PlayPicks and thelines.com, regardless of whether these videos are up. So you can always get your best bets and prop picks there. Please like and subscribe to the page so you don't miss a beat. And if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to FDPicks.com or DKPicks.com. Find those listings in your local area. Looking at a couple game sixes tonight with the number one seeds, Miami and Phoenix, looking to close out their series on the road. And that means Jimmy Butler, for me, is a go-to guy. Look, he's been fantastic in the playoffs overall the last few years, but this year he's taken on much bigger scoring load for the Heat, 28.3 points per game on 54% field goal shooting. His usage rate is up to 29% after it was 24% those last 2 years, including that 2020 bubble run. In his last three in particular, two of them just heroic individual efforts in Philly against his former team. We did forecast that he would be fired up to stick it to those fans who are not even very nice to their own team. So Jimmy definitely doesn't have any love lost there. He scored 36.5 points per game, produced 40% of Miami's points in those road games. And now in his last three, he's getting 32 points per game as he went back to Miami and continued that barrage against the Sixers defense that just doesn't really have any answers for him. Tobias Harris has done the best individual job on him, but he still isn't that guy in terms of keeping Jimmy in front of him. Just so skilled in terms of his mid-range game and his ability to get to the rim. So strong, gets you on his hip. And then he's just calm, finishing very well. As we mentioned, 60% field goal shooting these last three. And then he's hunting switches, trying to make Embiid work, keep him tired as the Sixers are struggling to get Embiid going at that MVP level as he's dealing with multiple injuries. And Jimmy will continue to hunt him. He's such a smart player and such a crafty veteran. So at just 25.5 points, pretty much even money there. I think you got to like the player performance doubles if you think Miami's going to pull out this win. As I mentioned in the game video, I think their offense will be more balanced and better overall without Kyle Lowry if he does continue to sit. He's just not healthy and he's not helping the team. So that is partially why we saw such an explosion in Game 5 from Miami's offense. And now as they go on the road, it's probably not going to be as much of a team explosion as much as it is leaning on Jimmy. A little bit of Bam Adebayo facilitating, but Jimmy's really going to take that scoring load. So 25 plus in a win is plus 240 and 30 in a win plus 540. I don't have any problem with that. Just the odds there, even though I do kind of lean towards Philly winning this game, I think plus 540 is worth a fire for a guy who's averaging slightly over 30 right now. Then we go to the other side of the ball, and it's James Harden, very much a boom bust option. If you're looking at props here, I actually don't really love the 20.5 points because, like I said, you don't know how he's going to perform down the stretch, but he has figured something out in terms of being able to beat this Miami team from deep. He's saying, all right, PJ Tucker's going to body me. He knows how I like to drive to the basket. He's not really, Harden not really able to drive past anybody at this stage in his career. So he's starting to lean on that step back three a little bit more and has been connecting in the last two games. He's 8 for 16 from three, including 6 for 10 in that home game in Game 4, 4 for 7 in the fourth quarter to help Philly close it out. He's getting plus 102 to just hit 3 threes tonight, which is what he's averaging since Embiid came back and the quality of his looks really went up. 3 3-pointers per game at 39%, along with almost 21 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6.5 assists. I don't hate taking the points again. I think you can take the player performance double for Harden to get 20 at least in a win. It's plus 178 at FanDuel. The Sixers are absolutely going to need that if they're going to pull this off. And his usage rate and his scoring up a little bit at home in these playoffs. As I mentioned, the key stat here, though, again for the threes, shooting 41% from three at home versus 31% on the road. So that is definitely where I'd put my money there. I mean, he could have an awful game and still go 3 for 9, 3 for 11 from three, as we've grown accustomed to with Harden in these clutch playoff games. Sometimes he has those really rough shooting games, but he could still hit that prop for you. So definitely like the juice you get there. Switching out to the game out in Dallas with Phoenix trying to close out. I mean, Chris Paul, we did try to target him in game 5 based on the narrative that he was disrespected, or I mean, his family was really attacked, and he had a very frustrating experience in that game 4. But he didn't necessarily have to do any heavy lifting down the stretch. So he scored just 7 points, handed out 10 dimes, and chilled in a 30-point win. But I don't think it's going to be that easy in Dallas now as we go back there. And when the going gets tough, CP3 gets going. Of course, he's an incredible playoff performer and clutch performer this year. You look in the second half of these playoffs, 11.5 points per game on 59% field goal shooting. You look at clutch performance, the last 5 minutes of games within 5 points on the road. He's shooting 71.5% with a 152 offensive rating. Phoenix has a 155 offensive rating in those clutch situations on the road, and it's because of CP3. And then I mentioned the closeout performances recently. He had that perfect performance against NOLA, 33-8 on 14-14 field goal shooting, 41-8 against the Clippers last year, 37-7 against the Mavs, shot way over 60% in both of those games. I don't know if Dallas is going to let him get to his spots as much and get going in terms of his shooting, but 15.5 points is pretty low. I do think you can take the over there. If you do think Dallas is going to continue to sell out, which really just didn't work out for them in game 5, 9.5 assists is plus 115 at FanDuel. You can take the 10 assists and a win for the player performance double. But again, I just love the juice you can get here. 23 points in a win for CP3 is plus 940 at FanDuel, or 18 in a win, plus 320. He's averaging 18 in the playoffs. Like I said, if it's a close game, he's far more likely to start scoring a lot down the stretch, get you those 11.5 points in the second half, even if he's quiet in the first half. Definitely a good chance he gets around 20 points here, and I do like Phoenix to pull out the win. And then the last pick on the other side of the ball, Jalen Brunson, had a really rough start to the series in Phoenix. 2 games where the Mavs couldn't get anything going outside of Luka Doncic, and Jason Kidd asked somebody else to join the party, and then I'm sure drew up some X's and O's to get Brunson involved. And in his last 3, Brunson, 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, nearly 4 assists, 30% usage rate. That's where they need him to be. I mean, he had a coming out party in the first 3 games of these playoffs without Luka. He's definitely capable of burning guys one-on-one. And that's the key here, is that Phoenix was really committed to staying home on Luka and Brunson in one-on-one situations in game 5. And that led to a lot of team success because the Mavs weren't able to get any threes going. That's going to be a point of emphasis for Phoenix as they go back to Dallas after getting scorched for 23 pointers in game 4. They're going to stay home on Brunson and Luka, and that's going to allow these guys to operate. Brunson is so tough going to the basket. He's going to try to be physical if Chris Paul is guarding him, make CP3 work. Mikal Bridges will be busy, occupied with Doncic. So Brunson to get 19.5 points is slightly under even money, but it is a good bet here. You can combine it with the assists on DraftKings, 23.5 points assists to get better odds there. But that is where I'd turn in terms of the points. In the playoffs at home, he's averaging 27 points per game, more rebounds, 5.5, more assists, 4.5. So nothing wrong with combining all the stats for Brunson. I think both him and Luka are going to have very good statistical games, just like they did in game 5, but I don't think Dallas is going to win this game. And, even with those guys producing, it's just not going to be the overall team effort that they need, or they're not going to get the quality of looks they need from 3 with those guys going one-on-one so much. But that doesn't mean you can't get their props together. And that is all the time we have for you today. Please stay tuned. One more player props episode for you solo tomorrow, along with the 2 game videos as we look at the Bucks and Grizzlies playing game 6s. And until we see you next, happy betting.